Allah the Exalted said in the Quran, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. The scholars deduce from this ayah that the knowledge of Tawheed, to learn about Allah, what befits Him to be among His attributes, what doesn't befit Him, which is impossible to be among His attributes, and to learn about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the attributes of the prophets, and what is impossible to be among their attributes. From the first part of the verse, فَاعْلَمْ, which means know, O Muhammad, and stay on this belief that there is no God except Allah. The scholars of Islam said this is an indication about learning the knowledge of Tawheed, because knowing about La ilaha illallah goes under the category of learning Tawheed, the creed of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. This part of the verse is an indication about learning about beliefs, about the meaning of La ilaha illallah and what is related to that. The second part of the ayah, وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لِذَنْبِكَ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ, which talk about al-istighfar. Al-istighfar is asking Allah forgiveness. This goes under the category of al-ahkam, the rules of the religion. The scholars of Islam said in the first part of the verse there is an indication about ilm al-tawheed. In the second part of the verse there is an indication about ilm al-ahkam. And the knowledge about al-tawheed preceded the knowledge about al-ahkam. This is a proof that to learn about the creed of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, to know about the beliefs, is more important than learning about al-ahkam. And in this regard, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam praised himself for being the most knowledgeable about Allah. Prophet Muhammad said, أَنَا أَعْلَمُكُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَأَخْشَاكُمْ لَهُ, which means Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is praising himself for being the most knowledgeable about Allah among all the companions. And he is the most God-fearing person among them because of his knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Praised are the great scholars of Islam who highlighted the importance of the knowledge of Tawheed, like Imam al-Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Ibn Asakir, and others. The Tawheed of Allah refers to believing that Allah is the only God. This is at-Tawheed. Imam al-Junayd defined that at-Tawheed as knowing the difference between the creation and the creator. Allah is God who has no partner in His self-attributes and actions. So at-Tawheed is to recognize the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah has no partner, to differentiate between the creator and the creation. This is at-Tawheed. But the problem of the Wahhabis and other deviated groups who likened Allah to His creation, they applied to Allah the rules they apply to the creations. And for this they attributed Allah with organs, they attributed to Allah wal-iyadhu billah being in a place, having a shape, a volume, going up and down. They likened Allah to His creation because they didn't differentiate between the creator and the creation. Imam al-Junayd al-Baghdadi, who was one of the great scholars, he said at-Tawheed is to differentiate between the creator and the creation. But people like Wahhabis did not differentiate between the creator and the creation. They applied to Allah the rules they applied to the creations, and this is an evil matter to do this, and this is the blasphemy itself. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ تَعَالَى. They say we cannot imagine a creation without a place, because a creation has a volume, has a quantity. It must have a place to occupy it. Then they say, and Allah also, they say, needs a place to occupy it. They liken Allah to His creation. If they have one speck of understanding, they would know and think this way: who created the whole world? Allah. Who created the whole world? Who created the skies and earth, the throne, the kursi, and the rest of the world? Allah. So Allah existed eternally. He has no beginning to His existence before creating any of this world. So He existed eternally, and there was no place, no direction, no skies, no earth, no throne, no kursi. And after He created all these creations, He does not change. Creating the creations does not change the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah didn't need the creations before He created them, and Allah doesn't need them after He created them, because Allah does not need any of His creations. From this we say, Tawheed is to differentiate between Allah, the eternal, the one who has no beginning, from the created that has a beginning.